What if I told you that some of the world's most trusted companies and individuals have been at the center of shocking scandals, costing people billions and shaking the global economy? Today, we're diving into the world of deception, betrayal, and greed. These are the most unbelievable financial scandals in history. Let's start with one of the most infamous scandals of all time, Enron. Enron was a titan, the seventh largest company in the United States, swimming in rivers of cash, or so we thought. They were the darlings of Wall Street, with their stock prices soaring higher than a cocaine-fueled pigeon in a wind tunnel. But behind this facade of success, a much darker reality was brewing. Turns out, Enron was built on a foundation of lies, like a house of cards made of expired credit cards. They were hiding billions of dollars in debt off their balance sheets, using accounting loopholes that you'd need a PhD in bullshit to understand. And who was at the helm of this sinking ship? Ken Lay and Jeffrey Skilling, two men who treated corporate ethics like optional suggestions on a takeout menu. These guys were masters of illusion, convincing everyone that Enron was a well-oiled, money-making machine. They even had Arthur Andersen, their accounting firm, in on the act. When Enron's house of cards finally collapsed in 2001, it sent shockwaves through the entire global economy. Investors lost billions, thousands of people lost their jobs, and the world got a crash course in just how far corporate greed could go. The Enron scandal became a symbol of everything wrong with corporate America, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones in the halls of business schools around the world. But here's the kicker. Even after all the investigations, the trials, and the convictions, the true extent of Enron's deception may never be fully known. It's enough to make you want to invest in a good tinfoil hat and a lifetime supply of ramen noodles. Next, we have Bernie Madoff, the man who pulled off the ultimate long con. This wasn't just some two-bit hustler running a pyramid scheme out of his grandma's basement. This was a respected financier, a Wall Street titan, who managed to swindle billions from some of the world's savviest investors. Madoff's weapon of choice? The Ponzi scheme, named after Charles Ponzi, another master of deception. But Madoff took this con to a whole new level, like he had a black belt in bamboozling billionaires. For years, Madoff ran his investment firm like an exclusive club, catering to the wealthy and the well-connected. He promised them steady, above-market returns, and for a while he delivered. Little did they know their profits weren't the result of some financial wizardry, but rather the pilfered savings of new investors. It was a classic robbing Peter to pay Paul scheme, but on a scale so grand, it made Robin Hood look like an amateur shoplifter. When the financial crisis of 2008 hit, Madoff's investors, desperate for cash, tried to withdraw their funds. That's when the facade crumbled, and the world finally saw Madoff for what he truly was, a con man of epic proportions. The fallout was devastating. Investors, charities, and even universities lost billions. Lives were ruined, reputations were shattered, and the world learned a hard lesson about the dangers of blind trust. 2008. The year the music stopped, the champagne went flat, and the global economy took a nosedive into a pool of subprime mortgages. And at the epicenter of this financial earthquake stood Lehman Brothers, one of the oldest and largest investment banks in the world. Lehman Brothers, a name that once whispered of stability and success, became synonymous with recklessness and greed. See, Lehman, along with other Wall Street giants, had been on a bender, gobbling up risky subprime mortgages like they were going out of style. These weren't your average run-of-the-mill mortgages, mind you. These were loans handed out like candy on Halloween to people who had no business owning a house, let alone affording one. But hey, who cares about the long-term consequences when you're making money hand over fist, right? Wrong. As the housing bubble burst and default rates soared, Lehman Brothers found itself sitting on a mountain of toxic assets. The collapse of Lehman Brothers wasn't just a failure of one company, it was a systemic failure of epic proportions, exposing the flaws in the financial system and triggering a global financial crisis. Now let's talk about a company that really took us for a ride. Volkswagen, the maker of the people's car, the brand that promised German engineering and environmental responsibility, turned out to be about as environmentally friendly as a coal-powered hot tub. This wasn't some small-time accounting error, folks. This was a deliberate, calculated deception that went all the way to the top. Volkswagen, facing pressure to meet stricter emission standards, decided to take a shortcut. a shortcut that involved installing illegal software in millions of their diesel cars. This software, known as a defeat device, was designed to trick emissions tests into thinking their cars were cleaner than a choir of angels singing hymns about renewable energy. But in reality, these cars were spewing out nitrogen oxide emissions up to 40 times higher than allowed by law. The fallout from Dieselgate, as it came to be known, was swift and brutal. Volkswagen faced billions of dollars in fines, their reputation was tarnished, and their CEO was shown the door faster than you can say, catalytic converter. The Volkswagen scandal was a stark reminder that greenwashing is not the same as being green, and that even the most trusted brands can betray our trust in the pursuit of profit. Hold on to your smartphones, folks, because this next scandal involves the brave new world of fintech. Wirecard, a German payment processing company, promised to revolutionize the way we pay for things. They were the darlings of the tech world, their stock price soaring higher than a Silicon Valley unicorn on Red Bull. But behind the sleek app and the promises of innovation, a much darker story was unfolding. Wirecard, it turned out, was built on a foundation of lies, like a digital house of cards held together by lines of code and wishful thinking. For years, Wirecard had been inflating its revenue, cooking its books, and basically making up transactions like a 5-year-old with a vivid imagination. They even went so far as to create fake customers and forge documents, all in an elaborate scheme to deceive investors and auditors. When auditors finally caught wind of the fraud, it was like opening a Pandora's box of accounting irregularities. Billions of dollars were missing, top executives were implicated, and the company filed for insolvency faster than you can say blockchain. The Wirecard scandal was a wake-up call for the tech industry, a reminder that even in the digital age, old-fashioned fraud can still flourish. So what have we learned from these tales of corporate greed and financial chicanery? Well, for starters, it seems like there's no shortage of people willing to bend the rules, break the law, and throw ethics out the window in pursuit of wealth and power. These scandals, as shocking as they are just the tip of the iceberg. For every Enron or Madoff that gets caught, there are countless others operating in the shadows, their misdeeds hidden behind layers of complexity and obfuscation. But it's not enough to just shake our heads and mutter about the greed of Wall Street or the moral bankruptcy of corporate America. We need to demand better. We need to hold corporations accountable, strengthen regulations, and foster a culture of ethical behavior. The fight against financial fraud is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires vigilance, skepticism, and a healthy dose of common sense. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Which of these scandals shocked you the most? And do you think these disasters could have been prevented? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling stories about business, shocking events, and the truth behind the headlines. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.